no time to prove them wrong. Yeah, might be all that you get. Yeah, I guess this might well be it. But heaven knows I tried. No, my hands won't be tied down, and I will not lay them down, 'cause I can finally see the truth. So simple but so clear, accepting an ocean's depths were out of reach for me and you. If you're coming up for air, breathing in, you know I'll be there when you first begin. And when everybody's telling us we have no time, we'll prove them wrong again. 'Cause yeah, might be all that you get. Yeah, I guess this might well be it. But heaven knows I tried. And heaven knows I tried.
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
It's up to us to remember what Kamala's mother told her. Don't just sit around and complain. Do something. So, if they lie about her, and they will, we've got to do something. If we see a bad poll, and we will, we got to put down that phone and do something. If we start feeling tired, if we start feeling that dread creeping back in, we got to pick ourselves up, throw water on our face, and what?
Oh, yeah. And if that doesn't get you fired up, people, I don't know what will. Maybe I could find the button that turns on the next scene, which would be awesome, because I know it's right here. But suddenly and unexpectedly, my thing is not quite working here. Stand by. Stand by. No problem. No problem. Let's do this, people. Let's do this. Work the problem. Don't make it any worse than it is. Stand by. In the meantime, here's more music. All right, here we go. It's happening now, people. It's happening. I know how to do this. One of those deals where the button that's supposed to do the thing is not doing the thing. So stand by. Oh my goodness. There's a chance it works. It's exciting. It's exciting when it finally works. Listen, Chrome. What are you going to do? I'm not a big Chrome guy. Welcome to another scintillating episode of Red, White, and Do Something. On this election eve, we have reached it. We have reached it. I don't know how long y'all have been thinking about this day. Certainly multiple years, I'm guessing, ever since the former guy said, well, I'm going to run again. Oh, great, because it ended so well the last time. And by ended so well, I mean with an attempted overthrow of constitutional democracy and more than 1 million Americans dead. But you know what? He wants a mulligan on that one. Okay, great. Oh, great. Makes me want to adjust my chair just thinking about the dude. Listen, here's the deal. Tomorrow is election day, but it really has been election season, right? I mean, I don't know about you, but I voted, so I'm guessing many of you have voted as well. And you may be saying to yourself, Colin, what am I going to do now? Because I voted. I did my part. I did what I could. No. You did not do all you could do to help save constitutional democracy in America. And I'm looking at you right now because there was more you could have done. But guess what? There still is time. It's true. There are things you can do, concrete steps you can do between now and this time tomorrow when we'll be about, 2 hours away from getting the first results. Well, of course, we all know that we'll be getting the first results at 9 p.m. Pacific time tonight when Dixville Notch reports in, or whatever. But barring that, we will be getting our first actual results when some of the polls start closing in about 24 hours from now-ish. I think some of them close like really early, like 6 o'clock East Coast time or something, which would be 3 o'clock, which would mean tomorrow we'll already know kind of like what the future is going to take shape to look like. And there have been some fascinating developments in the presidential race, but it's not just the presidential race. There is a lot of races out there, a ton of races, and a lot to follow tomorrow night. But I think the presidential one is the one that we're all kind of thinking about, right? I know I'm thinking about. So, there's a lot to consider. One of the things that I thought would be handy, and I showed this on the stream the other day, and I still think it's kind of enjoyable, is the Trump tour Lollapalooza / more of a fire festival, it looks like, of the lineup that could be coming to a town near you in 2024, 2025, which these are acts that I don't want to see any more of, frankly. I'm just done. Just absolutely done. Quick update for those of you who are poll closing fans. Thank you, Dion, for letting us know. 7 p.m. Eastern, it's Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, South Carolina, Vermont, and Virginia. So almost exactly 24 hours from right now. My Hoosier friends, who I know may be watching, we have relatives back in Indiana, Indiucky, as we call it, the southeast corner of Indiana and Kentucky, right there near Louisville. South Carolina, oh my goodness, Vermont and Virginia. And then the release, we'll be counting. Dion says, I'd rather see Berlin again. Yes, me too. Both the city and the band. wouldn't be good for me. Also, a big hello to the Flat Earth Priest. Hey, what's up? My anxiety is what's up, and maybe yours as well. That being said, there are, as we've been talking about, things you can do to avoid getting a repeat of, the Fourth Reich coming in to play on January 20th, or Brandon Let's Go, who's one of my favorite, artists. I love Brandon. He's done a lot of great work, but I just don't want to see him again. Uh, I always have enjoyed Vampire Choir, 34 Counts. That's one of my favorites of the bands. I don't know. If you have a favorite Trump-themed band you'd like to see on the Trump Tour 2024-25 poster, please let me know. It's difficult to do better, I think, than that first day's bill of, Red Scare, Ren Fair. I don't even know what that act is. It's a little weird. Shithole Symphony followed by the Couch Fuckers. It's it is what it is. Yeah. It's a lot of band. The Responsibility Evaders featuring Shaggy. It wasn't me. Listen, we don't want these. We're done. We're done with these people, right? This is all of these little crazy things. We are done. Absolutely done. I'm done. I don't know about you. So we were talking about things you can still do, and the things that you can still do. There are definitely plenty of things that you can still do, right? I mean, it's not over at all. Let's start with the obvious. You could make a very small dollar donation. I don't, election night is not the end of the journey, right? If we all agree that it's going to be a very close race, and I do think there are certainly going to be parts that are very close. How close, I don't know, but pretty close, I think. Just trying to get some stuff set up here for the upcoming segment, if you don't mind. Don't mind me. So yeah, make a $10 donation. Skip a Starbucks trip. Find a political candidate who you really really want to help out and help them out. There's plenty of great candidates who could probably use money for lawyers to make sure that all of the votes that we've worked so hard to get are going to be there. So yeah, $10 would really help, and you'll feel good, I bet. Texas is going to be close. Dion, I love you like a brother. You're living in a fantasy world, my friend. Every year we think, oh, this is the year for Texas. Oh yeah, we're getting it this year. This is the year, Texas. Goodbye, Ted Cruz. We're getting Texas. We're finally going to do it. We got the best candidate. And then on election night, Cruz wins by 8 points, and the state goes to Trump by 12. If that doesn't happen this year, I will gladly eat my hat. I mean, gladly, super gladly. Because boy, I would really like to see that happen. It's going to be close. There's a lot of talk about this, momentum, and how much of it is campaign spin, how much of it is actual, reality. Oh, by the way, in the chat, if you want to, let me know, what is your most likely, upset state. If you can think of a state tomorrow that's going to break one way or the other in a way that is contrary to what you think, go ahead and drop that in the chat, and we're gonna take a look. Oh, Dion says he's gonna. Yeah, Dion, you're gonna go hat shopping right now. Well, good luck. I'd like a large chapeau. I've got a big head, as my dear friend Amy constantly reminds me. Yeah, go ahead. Listen, like I said, I will gladly eat the hat. Happy to eat the hat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the hats. That would be me. Florida. See comments on Texas. It's not happening. If she is even close, like within a point or two of Florida or Texas, that will mean she's winning the whole thing, like in a runaway. It's going to be a blowout. Your lips to God's ears, but I don't know that that's what we're going to see. However, there is that weird Iowa poll that just came out. Now, I saw a lot of commentary over the last 2 days where it's like, oh, Harris is ahead in Iowa. Oh my God, what happened? Where are all these women voters coming from? It's crazy. Yeah, they're pissed. They've been pissed. They tried to tell you in 2022 how pissed they were. You didn't listen, and they're still pissed because you're taking away their rights. Don't do that, morons. And expect to be elected to anything anytime soon. So yeah, if there's a hidden 5 to 7 point swing towards the Harris team because women are like, yeah, no, we're not going for this at all. Yay, 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 yay. But counting on it? Absolutely not. Been fooled before. Remember what it was like 2016, sitting there watching the old New York Times meter start at 94 or 95% for Hillary, and then over the night it just goes, why is it in the middle? This is when I started to kind of get a spider sense tingling that something was going wrong. And then it was like, 70% Trump, 80% Trump. What the hell is going? I'm not falling for that again. Never again. Very traumatic experience. And somewhat honestly, a very traumatic experience. Probably more so for a lot more people than me, but yeah, look, God, Florida, Texas, let's do it. I'm in. I'm about it. Send $10 to Colin Allred. Let's get Ted Cruz out of there. That would be awesome. I'm not counting. Not counting on it happening. Although we do need to flip a couple of Senate seats if we want to, get to 49, 50. I guess it's 50 you got to get to when you're if you win the presidency, or 51 if you don't. And we still don't know which way there's going to go. And then Dion has sent a series of, there's a cap. That's nice. A lovely top hat. And a final, that's a sporty chapeau there. I'm looking forward to it. I think I am, just season it up well. And I will be, and now is this I want to, Dion, if you clarify the terms of the bet. Does she have to win these states for me to eat the hat? Or does she just have to be within a couple points? Because I think, either way, I'm probably pretty good on these. I'd put the over-under at, I don't know, Trump 3.5 on both of these states, and I'd take the over, and I'll give you anything up to, Kamala winning, of course, or anything Trump under 3.5 ahead, and then we'll have the hat eating. I think that would be all kinds of fun. And who wouldn't like to tune in to a live stream where I eat a hat? We're eating our words. We're eating our hats. She will win. Oh, yes. Texas will be close. Great. So, all right. I will take the terms of this bet. If she wins Florida or Texas is within 2 points, deal? How's that sound? Let's see. I'll take 3.5 on either. Well, yeah, obviously. Well, this is the problem with negotiating over a live stream. Sometimes it's tough to get the best thing. I'll stick with the original offer. I'll give you the original offer. I'll give you 3.5 on either. If he wins by more than 3.5 in Florida and Texas, it's a parlay. Oh my goodness. Then yes, I win the bet. But if he is, if she is within 3.5 in either Texas or Florida, chapeau time. Have Nathan get some tips on how to prepare it over there at the fancy restaurant. Speaking of fancy, here on the podcast Red, White, and Dew, we continue to be brought to you by flavors of Mountain Dew that are either election themed or thematic to the time of year. And because we're also kind of freaked out right now, I went with Voodoo. What is the flavor? Nobody knows. It could be something. It's a mystery flavor. I think this is last year's Voodoo, 2023. Saved it because been waiting, to have a good sponsorship opportunity. Mountain Dew, all I'm saying is call me. We'll get back to patriotic dues tomorrow, I think. Let's see. I could make you a hat out of salami. First off, Dion, I can make you a hat out of salami. You are quite talented. I'm not going to lie. Extraordinarily talented. And a salami hat would be fantastic. I would really, really enjoy a nice salami hat. Perhaps with a cheese bow. But we'll see. I'm glad the good feelings are out there. I have good vibes based on the Iowa polling. If there is really a kind of a massive shift towards her, my concern is that Iowa is specific to Iowa because of their crazy abortion law that they passed. And I don't know that enough places have abortion on the ballot, although I would note that I believe Arizona has an abortion measure on the ballot, which could draw out a larger percentage of female voters than in past elections, which I think would trend very good for Harris. And one of the other swingy states has one. North Carolina, maybe, or I have to get out my cheat sheet and look, try to get things ready for tomorrow. Florida. Oh, yeah, of course. Doy. That's the one that, Trump got all backwards on 4 times when he's trying to figure out what his position was. Yes, Florida and Arizona. So that's part of your Florida confidence, I'm guessing, Dion, is that the women of Florida will deliver the Sunshine State for the Harris Walls team. And from your lips to God's ears, if that happens, boom, we in, baby. But I don't know. I got to see it to believe it. Got to see it to believe it. Florida also has pot on. It's a party in Florida this election day. It's just a party. Go crazy, Florida. Go crazy. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. These do tend to bring out traditionally Democratic voters. So fingers crossed. I'm rooting for it. Let's make it happen. One other thing. Let's get back to what you can do last second. What are the other last second things you can do? Hey, have you tried phone banking? I've done it. It may not be for everyone, but it's not bad, and you can do it from home, and it's super easy. There's a script. You call a number, they connect you. you deal directly through the campaign, and then you call, and you just remind people, hey, today's election day. Do you need help getting to the polls? Do you know where your polling place is? What can we do to get your ballot in? Stuff like that. I found it surprisingly satisfying when I did it. Yes, there were people who did not want to talk to me. Of course, and it did give me a little sympathy for the people who call me all the time. This is why I'm always I try to be polite if I answer. Like, how many of us are answering, unknown numbers these days? But some people still do. Or sometimes you just have a feeling. I don't know. The city is something, or you're like, oh, do I know a guy there? Maybe it's job related or something. I don't know. So I try to be sympathetic, but in general, it can be very satisfying when you do find a voter who is lost in the woods. Oh, yeah, that's tomorrow? Yeah, it's tomorrow. You got to get out there, friend. Oh, but I didn't register. Well, you know what? Your state has same-day registration. Oh, really? Dude, no. Oh, yeah, dude, yeah. So phone banking is a great way to jump in and just get a little bit of last second, energy headed into the right direction. This is the other big thing I'm seeing a lot of people, stand by, talking about these days, and that is text messaging. Now, we've talked on the show before about text messaging and about how the text messaging works. And there's good text messaging. Here, hold on. Let's see if I can call this back up. I think the standard is 3. Call 3 people and let them let them hear from you, so that you can I am hopeful get a message out, in swing states or in swing districts where it is going to make a big difference. It is going to make a big difference. Oh, also Florida, 300,000 Haitian voters. Well, Dion, I'm telling you, maybe. I wish it were so. But and if you know people in Florida, here's an easy way to contact them. There is an app, and I think we're going to be able to see it in just a second. called Swipe Blue. And we've talked about this one before. Take a look. Call that up there. Go here. Oh, I see what's going on. No, that's not good at all. Let's do this instead. I'm going to change software. I'm just not enjoying how this control part works here. It's not the best. Window. How about a window? Let's take a look at this. Here we go. This I've talked about before. And let's see if it even shows up. Does it show up? No, it does not. We'll have to take my word for it. It's called Swipe Blue. Swipe Blue. And it is an app where you can send messages to democratically registered voters who you know. And it is really cool. I've used it. Found a bunch of people who I knew that were in swing states and sent, you don't send like a mass garbage email or a mass garbage text or, sell them out to some other text, company. You go ahead and just do you send them a personal message from yourself, but it's just a way of kind of identifying the people in your address book who you already have a relationship with and could use a nudge or are in a district, because the app will back check their contact info versus voter rolls, voter registration lists that are publicly available, and see, oh, this person lives in congressional district XYZ that has a very close race between a Democrat and Republican. So maybe they're in a safely blue state like New York or California, but they're in a very competitive House district, or there's other, a very competitive Senate race, going on. So I highly recommend the app. It's called Swipe Blue, and you can just search for it on the old Google. Because right now, my version of it, I don't think is going to show up. Anyone? Swipe Blue? Who's with me? Let's take a look. Screen share? How about a screen share? Let's see if it works now. Nope. Well, I was able to show it on the last stream. Don't know what happened this one, but it's a question for Restream technical support, not for me. And so, spreading that message to everyone that every vote matters. Even in the blue states, every vote matters, because part of what's going on, I think, in America right now is we have to send a message. And the message has to be kind of like an overwhelming show of support for democracy. And part of that is building the moral case for majority rule in America. And part of that is continuing to say, even if I'm in a blue state, yes, I am part of a coalition that believes that we need to continue having elections, free and fair elections, and we need to not give in to misinformation and lies. And I hate to say it, but Russian disinformation, oh my God. But did you see the deep state? I mean, the FBI and the Department of Justice and all these, very conservative government organizations are out there showing proof that, these are deep fakes made by a special, Russian hacking group, ballot shenanigans and stuff. And those are going to be flying around tomorrow like crazy. So before you click or reshare or retweet anything or rethread anything or re-blue sky anything or re-mastodon anything, do people re-mastodon things? Am I the only one still on Mastodon? Maybe. Be careful. And keep in mind that things that look like what they are may not be what they are. So trust verifiable, vetted sources, that have an accountability feature built in, that are either commercially incentivized to present only true facts, which I'll be very interested to see how the Fox News coverage goes tomorrow night after they took an $800 million haircut on lying about the election. That $800 million, that's real money for them, isn't it? I think that's real money. Definitely. So check that out as well. But, whether it's CNN, MSNBC, the New York, Washington Post, LA Times, New York Times, Washington Post, LA Times, Seattle, PI, I don't know, pick your favorite if you have a hometown newspaper. A lot of the people I know journalism is not doing great. And the whole Jeff Bezos kerfluffle from the other week was just like, Jesus, Jeff, what are you doing, man? You're not helping, frankly. But the journalists, forget about the organizations writ large and their billionaire owners. The journalists are doing really good work. And, there was the whole let's unsubscribe from the Washington Post thing. I'm fully on board with it. Do not give your money to people who will not stand up for the truth. But that doesn't mean stop spending money on news or verified fact gathering or things like that. I got to recommend one of my all-time faves, Josh Marshall's Talking Points Memo, which is done a 20-year run of incredible, independent, Dem-leaning, but fact-anchored coverage of the DC scene and politics. And, Josh has, his minions, so to speak, the people who've come up working for him on the website have all, spread out to NBC or, a lot of other print outlets or whatever. So it's always fun to kind of keep track of all the alumni that have all come out of this one website started by one guy after, was it the 2000 recount, I think, or maybe 2004? But he's made a 20-year career out of this now. And they have a nice subscription model where, you pay a fee and it lets him hire reporters. And, he's accountable. If he starts presenting garbage, people aren't going to subscribe. And that would put an end to the whole thing real quick. So for all of you, I believe in the power of the markets, people, here you go. Sometimes the facts are what the facts are. And you need independent people like that. A lot of tech reporting these days is going that way too. I don't know if you've noticed, but people like Taylor Lorenz, left the Washington Post after she'd bounced around a couple of the majors and decided just, what? I'm setting up my own Substack, and a lot of reporters can do that now, because the kind of symbiotic relationship between our print media and our TV media grew so strong during the first Trump administration that a lot of these reporters kind of became stars on their own and are able to then, carve out an audience just for their product. Casey Newton does a great tech newsletter that I cannot recommend highly enough. Who else? There's so many people doing really great work on Substack and independent. Substack I know has some questionable policies when it comes to backing or monetizing certain types of content. So a lot of people are looking for free and open source alternatives, and there are many out there. Ghost is one. I think Beehive. I don't know if that's open source. I think it's still subscription, but there are other places. But a lot of power out there for journalists to just do their stuff and get it directly out to the public with little or minimal corporate interference. And if the billionaires are going to keep spiking the editorial decisions of their papers, LA Times and Washington Post, then we definitely need more independent journalists being directly subsidized by people who appreciate and value the work that they do. So I highly recommend, if you've canceled the Washington Post, get out there and find someone to support. Take your subscription money and say, well, this person does incredible criminal justice reform stuff. Chris Geidner, does a law blog. He was a guy I followed on Twitter, and then, he ended up starting his own blog, and it's fantastic. So find some stuff to support, get out there, support journalism, because it's needed now more than ever, etc. All right, so it's elections eve. You're in the unfortunate position of, oops, I forgot to vote, I forgot to register, I don't know quite what to do. Well, there's still time. A lot of states have same-day voter registration. Find out if your state is one of them. And if you have registered and you have your ballot, or you have registered and need to go to a polling place, here's a little tip for you. You can go to iwillvote.org, iwillvote.org, and that will give you all the information you need to cast your ballot. Now, I want to be upfront with you. If you go to iwillvote.org, it will forward you to the Kamala Harris website. It's kind of a front page for that. But they, have a place, a little address finder where they'll get you the information on where your polling place is, if you need a polling place, where your vote centers are, if you have a vote center. We went to a vote center to vote on Sunday this week. We're in California, so we got, mail-in ballots. Everyone gets one, I think, now in California. And then there's several days before the election, you can just drop them off, not in a drop box out in the street, but like at a staffed polling place that is just open on Sunday, 10 to 6. Super easy. So a little too late for that now, but you still can find a place to go cast your ballot. Super important. If you have, for whatever reason, neglected to track down that information, or you didn't keep the 75 pieces of election mail that you got with sample ballots and sample proposed language ordinances, and oh my goodness, it was so, and mailers, of course, mailers. Who among us is going to miss the mailers? Yikes, the mailers. My postman's going to get lonely, won't have hardly anything to deliver anymore. But so that is my advice for, what to do if you need a place to find out where to vote. You can go to iwillvote.org to get all the information you need to cast your ballot. Maybe that information, and I heard this complaint for a lot of the campaign was, well, I know I don't like Trump, but what does she stand for? What's the Harris agenda? Why, it's funny that you mentioned that. I happen to have it right here. Yes, the complete Harris Walls New Way Forward for the Middle Class, which has been available for a very long time right there on KamalaHarris.com. They do have an agenda. There are plans. There are plans in here that will affect, you. Not to put too fine a point on it. And so if you have a chance and you're still on the fence tonight and you're like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I didn't like the Biden era as much as I thought I was going to. Weren't things better when, Trump was the president? The economy was great. I don't know. And what's she going to do? Well, this is what she's going to do. At least it's what she's going to work for. I think we all understand, at least I hope we all understand, that during the campaign, no candidate wants to get out there and say, so here's my agenda. I have no chance of getting this through Congress. I mean, that's not a winning campaign message, right? Everybody who campaigns for president campaigns like they get to enact their agenda. And that's another reason why, even if you're in a solidly blue state, we need you out there voting, to build support for lower costs for middle-class families. Fairly uncontroversial, one would think. Strangely, moderately controversial in America in 2024. It's all here. It's all here. All of the information people have been saying that she didn't give or wasn't running on or whatever, it's all here. And it has been for a very, very long time. That being said, it's not too late, people. It's not too late. Just, you know what? Here's what you can do, okay? I'm going to give you a little tip here. You download this PDF from the Kamala Harris website, okay? Why don't you then drop it into one of them AI programs that everyone's so happy about and just tell the AI to give you 10 bullet points about what's mostly going to affect you. See what it does. Could be fun. Yeah, right? Did I try that? Maybe. Did I? Yeah, I did. Was it weird? Yeah. But it was a pretty good summary, I thought, of, this entire document. There are shorter versions of this available online. But yeah, it's all here. So, and by all here, I mean that basically she's running on turning America into a 7-Eleven. Because there is everything right there. Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven is not sponsoring this video stream cast pod, whatever it is. Mountain Dew is our sponsor, as you well know. Chat, what do you like about her plans for the middle class? What are you looking forward to most as a change? I mean, I'm thinking the child, the child tax credit thing, when it was here before, they cut child poverty like in half, right? Like during the pandemic, after the pandemic, they cut child poverty in half, and then Republicans let that program expire. Kids had to go back into poverty. I want you to think about that. Kids had to go back into poverty because one political party in this country could not see their way clear to figuring out a compromise on how to get what they wanted so that half of the nation's poverty-stricken kids would not have to be in poverty. What are we doing? I mean, what are we doing? So anyhow, does she have plans? Oh, she has plans. The other thing I just wanted to bring up here on election eve is a little bit of what I think we're seeing from a lot of people, which is Trumpnesia. Trump amnesia, where people have forgotten a lot about the era. And new voters who are perhaps new to the voting agenda since 2017, there's certainly a possibility that you don't remember. You were 10 or 12 or whatever when Trump was president, and so now you're like 22 and ready to go, but you don't know. You remember a little bit about like the schools being closed and stuff. But what was the everyday, at the end of his presidency? But at the first part of his presidency, well, you know what? Every day it was something. Every single day there was a insult, there was a slight, there was a politically motivated decision for something that should not have been politically motivated, that should have been, super easy, like, hey, there's been a wildfire in California. Should we send them disaster relief funds? I don't know. They needed to clear the brush and they didn't clear the brush. That's why they get the forest fires. They got to clean the forest. That was an actual thing that happened. Also, it did get a lot of attention when the Orange One was out here in July-ish. He seems to think there's some kind of faucet to the north of us that he can turn on to give us more water. You say, what now? Look that one up if you want a good laugh. Trump on California's water problems. One of the many areas in which he has absolutely no expertise, but carries himself with the cockiness of a 78-year-old white semi-billionaire. I mean, it's just really amazing that he thinks there's, a faucet he can turn up. And oh, you California kids, you're going to get so much water you won't know what to do with it. Oh, well, I know what to do with it. Let's replenish the groundwater supplies that are so low that we've had, some of the worst drought years ever in our recent history. That would be a good start. Let's maybe use some of it to see if we can do something to stop, mauling the Earth's climate so that we have a chance to have Los Angeles not become Phoenix in the near future. I'm a big fan of that plan. Like, what can we do to make sure that the weather in Phoenix stays in Phoenix and doesn't become the weather in Los Angeles? And what can we do to make sure the weather in Los Angeles doesn't just move up the coast to become the weather in San Francisco? Because a fogless San Francisco is something I do not want to contemplate. But this is what they say we're kind of in for, as the global temperature rise continues its inexorable march upwards, because we can't think more than one presidential election ahead about anything. And because we have one candidate running on a policy of increasing oil production in the United States to its highest level ever from where it is currently at its highest level ever. So it's already at its highest level ever, and somebody is campaigning saying, no, that's not ever enough. We need to go even higher. Oh, I see the problem. I see the problem. You're crazy. But, regardless. And that brings us to the final part of, like, how bad was it? And what was it really like? And this part's going to be a little serious. I know we've been a little jokey here, but I got to bring it back to something that I don't think morally can be forgiven, ever. And certainly not with a vote to return this man to power. When you take an oath of office to become the President of the United States of America, you swear an oath to protect and defend the citizens of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. It is a protector role, no matter how creepy he phrases it these days. I'm going to protect those women whether they want to. Okay, you know what? We get it. You're a sexual assaulter. That being said, you do have to protect the country, and you do have to protect the citizens of the country. It's important. And it is difficult to overstate how utterly and completely Donald Trump failed at that. More than 1 million people died, including family members of mine, maybe including family members or friends of yours, because we had a guy whose head couldn't wrap around the concept that he needed to do more to help protect us. He let us die so that business could continue as close to normal as possible. And this was phrased as a sacrifice that, many people were willing to make. A government official in Texas came out and said, look, some people are going to have to die so that our kids, can live in an economy that's strong. And I was like, what? What? Nobody. People are going to die. It's a bad virus. But nobody has to die. And we certainly shouldn't, prioritize, deprioritize people's lives, I guess, at the expense of businesses, which basically exist to make and process money. When we're the richest country in the world, and we've got plenty of money, money's not the problem. The problem is keeping people safe. And he failed horrifically. And a lot of people died. And so I don't think you get a mulligan on that. I don't think you can say, hey, sorry about the 1 million people dying. Let me try again. Because I'm not at all convinced, and I hope you are not either, that when another make or break existential moment for the United States comes, if it does, that this is the guy we want making decisions for us. And it's tough because lots of people like him. And I heard people today talking about, that incredible article in The Atlantic over the weekend. It's kind of like the breakdown of the last 3 months of the campaign, what's going on behind the scenes. And the people who come to work for him say that, you get there and you're like, okay, I'll be careful. But he's like fun to hang out with and kind of crazy and kind of cool and whatever. And then it turns, and eventually you realize, oh, you're in an abusive relationship and this man is crazy. But he is charming and or appealing, I guess, in small doses to some people under some circumstances. And so we have this country now where 49% of the country wants to put this guy back in power. Why? Just the economy? Hate to say it. Might be other reasons. Might be other candidate reasons. Might be the same people who would never let that blank Hillary become president over their dead bodies may come out in droves to make sure that they never see a President Harris. Think I'm going to listen to her? You can hear people saying. And we still never grapple with the original sin of America, that we said all people were created equal, but we didn't treat all people equally. And the reverberations from that contradiction have caused massive clashes throughout our history. Most famously in the Civil War, but again in the Civil Rights Movement, again in the, George Floyd protests, again and again. It's like a string that you pluck and it vibrates. And, it just comes back every now and again and again and again. And I haven't seen too much of that this race. Not too much race this race. There was a lot of talk early on when Harris took over that people were guessing that Trump couldn't make it to Election Day without dropping the N-word at some point. And I think that bet's about to pay off for people. I think he's going to be able to avoid it. We'll see how the count goes tomorrow night. But I don't know. The gentleman was very, very incompetent when called upon. So on a purely competence case, forget about the moral case. Forget about the sexual assault. Forget about the 34 count in, guilty verdicts. Forget about all the classified documents that he kept in his bathroom at his tacky golf club. By the way, this is a lot to forget about, by the way. Just so you know, we're forgetting about a lot. And we could go on. Forget about all the foreign countries that paid money to stay at his D.C. hotel, hoping to buy favor with the administration. Forget about the billions that Jared got from Saudi Arabia that nobody even cares about. Has anyone seen Ivanka? Is she still out there? Did she flee the country and we just don't know it? I'm not sure. Haven't seen her. I've seen one photo of her in the last 6 months, and it was like at Kim Kardashian's birthday party or something. Don't ask. Somebody posted on the former Twitter, and it scrolled by. I was like, oh, God. But, that's where we are. And so to bring it back up a little bit, I want to take you back to New Year's Eve 2021, I think it was, when my friends and I do a live stream every New Year's Eve, celebrating the new year, as it were. And we do a ball drop, but we were unable to do it in person that year because, of course, large gatherings, forget about it. And, the vaccines, I think I don't know if the vaccines had come out or were just starting or wherever we were, but it was definitely a live stream only event that year. So we did a live stream. And one of the things we did for fun to add some life to our live stream, because there was not a large gathering of people, was that we hosted a dance party. But because of the pandemic being mishandled so completely, it had to be a virtual dance party featuring stock footage. Oh, yeah. Bring it on down. The socially distant dance party. A long-lasting legacy of the first Trump administration. That's not as fun as getting together in person. Let me just say. And so we all have a choice. And what it comes down to is, and I will leave you with this final challenge for both today and tomorrow. What did you do to help save democracy today? Make some calls, send some texts, send some money, watch this stream, share the link of this stream with somebody else and be like, hey, here's a guy who's kind of funny-ish, but he had a little take on the election that I found valuable and maybe you would too. I don't know. But we still have work to do. And no matter how close we are to seeing a Harris victory, and I hope that's what we're going to see, we got to, as they say in the track and field world, run through the tape. Do not Leon let this. He was the cowboy who picked up a fumble or something and ran it, 75 yards or something the other way and then got caught from behind on the 1 yard line. We got to keep going. We got to keep going. Get out there, make a phone call, send a text, send some money, do what you can to help save democracy because it's really important. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye for now and leave you with the words of the former First Lady who inspired the name of this show. I will maybe see you tomorrow for an Election Day check-in if you would like. I would love to catch up with y'all. Drop some more comments or questions, or just let me know how you're feeling, and we'll address some of that tomorrow. Until then, thank you very much for watching. I really, really do appreciate it, y'all. And let's go, Team Kamala. Woo!
It's up to us to remember what Kamala's mother told her. Don't just sit around and complain. Do something. So, if they lie about her, and they will, we've got to do something. If we see a bad poll, and we will, we got to put down that phone and do something. If we start feeling tired, if we start feeling that dread creeping back in, we got to pick ourselves up, throw water on our face, and what?
If you slow down for a second, take your time. You know I'm yours if you remember that you're mine. And when everybody's telling me I have no time, I prove them wrong again. 'Cause I might be all that you get. I guess this might well be it. But heaven knows I tried.